All right. I think that it's time that we get started. So I just want to say a big warm welcome from all of us here at Plecto. We welcome you here today. We want to thank you for being here and joining us for our webinar, the 3 steps to a performance-driven sales culture. I'm Maddie. I'm the content manager at Plecto, and I am honored to be mediating the webinar today. I encourage everyone to get involved and engage, and let's get the most out of this. So I hope everyone here is feeling energetic. They have some great ambitions and are ready to be the game changer. Because today, we're going to share our 3 steps to a performance-driven sales culture, as I mentioned. And this is so important as the sales landscape is changing. You know, our friend COVID has come to join us, visit us in the last couple of years. So if you really want to be a sales leader who's making those big game-changing moves and staying at the front of the industry, these steps are going to be really important to doing so. So I'm just going to jump right into it. You're not here to see me, so just a few housekeeping things. The agenda for today, you can see we've got, we're in the modern world. We need to keep up with the time. So we're our very own Kim will be starting us off. Yeah, Kim is saying hello, with some modern sales challenges. We've got some lovely special guests from Aircall, Tom and Jester, who will be presenting, going into a bit more depth about the operational KPIs that Aircall use. And then the big secret that you've all been waiting for, the VCC model, which we are extremely honored to have Joachim and Johan, who will provide some real world examples. They're saying hello. Will provide their real world examples and some great insights that they can bring to the table. So a lot of sales expertise here, a lot of entrepreneurship. So let's get the most out of this. And yeah, let's give we'll have a Q&A section at the end, just to mention. So I will just mention that if you have questions throughout, that's great. Unfortunately, due to the size of the event today, we do have to keep everyone muted, but chuck your questions in the Q&A box below and we'll be more than happy to cover as many as we can in the last segment there. So to introduce our speakers today, whoop, excuse me. Oh, that's all right. We're just going to get straight into it. I'll hand it over to Kim, who will take us away.
Fantastic, and thank you, Maddie. This will be fun. I'm Kim Jakobsson from Plecto, and what Plecto is, just a quick introduction on that. We are a business performance platform for everybody who wants to accelerate their performance. Here we also have there over 100 different integrations. Where we can get everything in real time. Maddie, can you get control over there? Fantastic. Where we also then implement gamification and reporting, coaching to get everything performance driven, where we enable top performing companies to build a performance driven culture that actually delivers results. So this is the performing age. Fantastic. And then we, of course, have a little about Plecto at a glance. We are around 50 employees now in 75 plus countries. So we are a big worldwide company with customers everywhere and with over 27,000 users. And with some really good names as customers, just to name a few, Pipedrive, Nets, Just Eat, who haven't used those guys somewhere sometimes when they're hungry. And our slogan, of course, outperform today, not yesterday. Fantastic. Yeah. And of course, when we come to the modern age, the challenges that we have now as a modern sales leaders, they can be quite different than they were from when we were the older ones. like we can see here from Glenn Garros, put that coffee down. The only thing that sales leader did back then was yelling. And that was it. So you were afraid of your job. So that's only the reason you had to deliver. And when you are a little more modern, you are a little more down to earth. You are the cool people that you want to work with, and not because you are afraid of your master. But of course, there are also quite a lot of challenges for the modern sales leader. You have limited time for all the responsibilities, reporting, coaching, budget, forecast, recruitment, analyzing data, so much, with all the high expectation from above as well, with lead, motivate, decision, performance, constantly everything. And you can also then lack the resources for that, to have the accurate and reliable data across departments and from actually your own department as well. Could be good. And also when we are now being in a pre-COVID world, people are not aligned with others. You don't have everything on the same page all the time there. So how can they be combined? And that's also what makes accurate data that are so terrible. It's not just because they are not aligned, because CRMs are not updated, because reps are also time pressured or unintensified to actually update their CRM. Oh yeah, I do that tomorrow. So they don't receive the KPIs frequently. So you have the wrong data. And also when they do it manually, that's not any fun. And then we have the good old-fashioned matrix creep, getting overwhelmed by data and lost in the details. From many different systems, where are the relevant metrics that I want to see? They are swimming in an endless sea of statics, getting lost in all the details, and are not available to get a full overview on, for example, their own team's performance. So, what is the solution to do this? There we have what we call a data-driven approach. So where you can then strategically drive all your data and determine the goals for the company, align targets with data measurements across departments, for your own departments, and track the right KPIs that are then live and up to speed, because that's what you need all the time. And of course, the benefits that you have for a data-driven approach and go away from the old ones are that you will then have a complete and reliable overview of the performance and alignment between the goals and data measured, because it should be updated, and then identify the poor performance. You can do something about that because you have the data in at real time. And of course, the high performers, that's where you're going to get your money in, and then fix all those issues direct, so you can spend your time accordingly and do that consistent and ongoing every single day, and reduce all the time that you normally use in putting in all this data manually, because that's a drag. Yes, and how we could implement a data-driven report. Many different ways to do that, but today we're going to do the fun way, the VCC model that you have been waiting for. In 3 steps: visualize performance, celebrate success, and coaching. And then, of course, who can use the VCC model? I will get stakeholders at all levels of the organization, all from the top CEOs, etc., to the tactical, the middle management, and the real heroes, the guys on the floor. We then divide these into 3 different KPIs here, also strategic, tactical, and operational. And here we're going to later have some of the cool guys talking a little about some of them, but first I will go into the strategic sale KPIs that are mostly for the top management, senior level management, where we have profit margins, budget virtual, what's actually coming in, the cash flow, how much money do we have, etc. So they're there. And when we have the tactical KPIs that are for the middle management, team leaders, things like that, where they have revenue growth, the pipeline velocity, conversation rate, win rate, hit rate, save rate, customers, lifetime value, etc., etc. It's so much, but then you can have everything in one thing there. And for the operational KPIs, we are lucky enough to have a really cool guy from the US, Tommy Jester. It's the director of sales from North America in Aircall. Take it away, Tommy.
Thank you, Kim. Not difficult act to follow for sure. I'm not sure I'm as cool as you, but
yes, you are.
I will definitely do my best to bring some fun stuff to the table and some cool stuff to the table. So thank you. Yeah, thanks for all that info. I guess I'll be focusing a little bit on the operational side today. And I think maybe just a quick start. I've been at Aircall now on the sales team for just about 5 years. So was with the company from pretty early days, 5 people in the North American office. And now we've grown to about 600 employees globally. So similar to Plecto, we operate in a very international and global fashion. We have offices in Sydney, New York, Berlin, France, Madrid, India. So we're definitely having that global and worldwide presence these days. So a little bit about Aircall before we dive in here. So Aircall is the phone system for modern businesses. So we integrate voice with all your existing tools, whether that be a CRM, a sales enablement tool, an AI and reporting and data tool, really to bring the value to voice everywhere and anywhere that you need it. So integrating it to all the great sales tools, Salesforce, HubSpot, Pipedrive, Gong, Plecto, etc. So if you're needing to get more productivity out of your reps and really looking for a way to visualize that in the places that matter most to you, yeah, take a look at Aircall. But moving right along here, because the main goal here is to get into the operational KPIs that we take a look at Aircall and to give some guidance there. So just a quick agenda on what I'll be chatting through today. The 3 main topics that I'll focus on are going to be one, operational KPIs and kind of how we use that in comparison with peers internally. 2, the alignment with other teams. So just how important really aligning internally with these operational KPIs with other teams are in terms of running the business. And the 3rd, which is activity metrics, a little bit more of the nitty gritty on the day-to-day. So with that said, we will dive right in here into that first topic, which is comparison with peers. And so the operational KPI that we really focus on there is going to be 1, revenue and percentage to quota, and also team rank. So what we do is we utilize Slack as our kind of daily messaging tool, and we have a connector called Troops that actually sends daily, weekly, monthly updates on performance to a North America kind of Slack sales channel. And so we have all of our teams in there. It really gives us, the numbers in the place that we're operating on a daily basis. So everyone comes to work every day, they open up Slack, they go to check, what's happened from the day prior. And usually it's quite a lot. And I know sometimes Slack can be a little bit overwhelming, but we like to have automated kind of messages sent that show our teams, how their performance is on a daily basis. So what they did yesterday, ranking them in order on percentage to goal and how much revenue they brought in for the company. And so it's a really powerful tool to really just put the numbers, in the place that they're working the most every single day, and allowing everyone beyond the sales team to really recognize that and see that as well. And what we also do is we send out daily messages to really break down our monthly revenue targets, and we break that down on a per day and per team basis, so that every team knows, what their goal is for the day. How are they contributing to that larger number? I know Kim mentioned earlier, sometimes there's that one role that you're putting all these metrics out there, and you really don't understand, as an individual contributor, how am I kind of impacting this number? There's too many numbers. I don't understand it. So what we do is really try to get that big, bigger picture number, break that down and put that into a digestible format for our teams so that they know exactly how they're contributing to that larger picture, to that bigger picture goal. And it really allows them to feel, their individual impact on those numbers. So really great there. And the last piece, I think, is really just allowing the teams to kind of celebrate the wins together. So having all those deals come through in Slack and allowing the different teams to kind of rally behind one another and, pep each other up and hype each other up. I think it takes a little bit of that, maybe like pressure away from needing that to be just within one team, within the sales team, or, from leadership. And it really creates that culture where everyone is kind of backing one another, cheering each other on. So I think getting those kind of operational KPIs into the tools that you're working with on a daily basis is super important. And so that kind of segues nicely into the next topic here, which is the alignment with other teams. Kind of spent some time chatting about that already, just getting the teams together and with behind one another. But a few pieces here of kind of how this ties together at Aircall specifically. So the first is our rewards and kind of commission structure and how we have that set up. The main KPI that we focus on there is just money per deal sold. And so what we've done is we've broken down our sales reps commission plans and compensation structures alongside our sales operations team, alongside our finance teams, to really give us, the insight of what are the actions that the business wants the sales team to drive, and making sure that we're incentivizing the team to work towards those goals. And so I think that's really, really important and sometimes gets overlooked. The salespeople, obviously salespeople like making money, but I think, again, they really want to be aligned with the business and having their impact felt on a daily basis. And so I think really aligning with those teams internally to make sure that you're putting together a plan that's really incentivizing the team to do what the business wants. I mean, it sounds very simple, but I think you'd be surprised at how difficult that might be sometimes. So that's a really important one for us, is based on the deal parameters, whether it be the billing frequency, the term length, what type of plan they're selling, discounting, things of that nature, really tying that all back into how much money they can make per deal, and giving them the kind of capability to be able to calculate that and see what is best for the business is also great for me from a financial perspective. So really kind of incentivizing them in that manner is definitely an important KPI that we look at operationally. Another, which goes into the next point here, which is our won revenue and pipeline value. So the main KPIs we focus on there, I mean, no shock, but forecasting, pacing, and how we do it is at Aircall is by using committed pipeline. So we have a very fast sales cycle at Aircall. It moves very rapidly. So we focus on, pipeline on a daily basis, and really work to have our reps having close dates on a daily basis as well, so that we can look at, from a pipeline perspective, daily, what do we have committed to close today? And our commit field, I mean, it's not the most, black and white, but really what we tell our reps is, when you get a deal into your funnel, and you're kind of making a call on that one way or the other, right? When it enters your funnel, is this a good deal for us? Is this a good fit? Do you think you can win this deal? Do you feel like you're going to win this deal? And that's kind of how we operate from a committed standpoint, to really get a good sense of, that split of pipeline of what do we feel really good about winning, and what do we not maybe feel as great about winning? And that also allows us to focus as leaders on, those specific deals that aren't committed, and seeing how we might be able to get them there, or what are the hurdles that we're facing, and coming together as a group to really discuss those a little bit more, makes that much easier to kind of work on a day-to-day basis and really help the reps out with some of those more challenging deals. And we also work with our sales ops team on, both top-down forecasting and bottom-ups forecasting to try to meet somewhere in the middle to have a realistic sense of, what we're pacing towards. So we look at, all kind of historical numbers from like a top-down perspective to see, how much pipeline we're entering this month with, this week with, and based on our conversion rates, whether that be, created to qualified, qualified to one, and, obviously created to one as well, seeing, based on what we're entering the week with, what we have scheduled to close that week, based on our historical numbers, this is probably where we're going to end up. Having that number is really helpful, and having, what we've already done and, what we have committed also makes that a lot easier as well. And I think that allows a lot easier kind of reporting up the, up the chain as well, up the sales funnel and all the way up to leadership to really get a good sense earlier on in the month how we're feeling, and then being able to kind of plan around that. Do we need more marketing this month? Do we need more from the outbound channel? Where can we really, if we are behind, focus our time and attention on to really start to, get ahead of that faster so that we can actually have an impact on that number if we're not feeling great about it going into the month. And the last that I have here is just our quota attainment capacity. So I think for us, really the main thing we focus on here is that capacity number. So the pipeline targets that we have baked into the financial plan, how many AEs do we really need? How many BDRs and SDRs do we need based on those numbers? And so that's something that we've really, really focused a lot of our time on at Aircall, especially over the last couple months, is really trying to iron out, again, we always like to take that approach of coming down from the financial targets, but also coming up from, what we're actually seeing on a realistic day-to-day basis, and trying to meet somewhere in the middle. If we can do a little bit more from marketing or whatever it might be, how can we do a little bit more on our end, on the sales end, to increase conversion rates, to increase qualification rates in order to get more out of the existing pipeline that we do have, to make it a little bit less daunting. And so that's always something that we're working on, from kind of a qualified op perspective, to headcount, to how many BDRs do we need, how many SDRs do we need based on our historical kind of conversion rates. And same goes for the account executives as well, just really understanding how many we need to really be operating at a good pace. And I think historically a lot of companies probably just say, okay, this is our target, financially, and divide that by the quota, and that's how many AEs that we need to have. We like to take maybe a less popular approach, but it's really allowed us to thrive and have a really happy and high performing team. Is we try to keep that number a little bit lower than the one-to-one that you'd probably see in most companies, because what we see is that when it's less, there's more to go around, and our reps actually work harder and bring in more revenue, and they're earning more money, they're hitting their goals, and it's always allowed us to kind of consistently hit our larger goals as well, because they feel more connected and more incentivized to really go above and beyond and hit those numbers. So probably something that we do a little bit differently than the industry norm, but something that we've really seen a lot of success with. So obviously you want to have that coverage, and you want to make sure that you're operating at a strong capacity, and you're having the ability to hit those numbers. But I think always being cautious of how many reps you have on your team, to make sure that you're not oversaturated with the team, and no one's hitting their targets, and making that a little bit less incentivizing for them to really help kind of drive that bottom line number. And so the last piece here is activity metrics. So I think one thing that we always say at Aircall is really stay intentional here. So our operational KPIs that we focus on are really, for me, the activity numbers to qualified op, or to qualified opportunity per rep. So I like to look at that efficiency number and see, this BDR, they know that every 250 activities they put out into the universe, that returns one qualified opportunity. And so that's going to be different for every BDR. They're going to have different strengths, different weaknesses, and some of them are going to be really great at cold calling. Some of them are going to be really great at personalizing emails. So that's something that, we want them to find their groove and find what they're comfortable with in order to really, be able to drive that efficiency number, because that's really what what matters at the end of the day. I know Kim mentioned earlier, kind of that like boiler room mentality of like make more calls and do more. But I think what we really want to focus on is do more with less and work smart, not hard. If you're making less calls and that's bringing in more revenue, then great, let's keep doing that and find out how you're bringing in that and focus more of our effort there. And I think having that kind of activity to qualified opportunity metric really gives us more insight into, how many, and again, really tying in their day-to-day and like giving them a little bit more peace of mind, knowing that if I get these amount of outputs out there into the universe, then I, will hit my goal and I will hit my numbers, and it makes it more digestible and easier for them to go through. But I think, again, really what we want to avoid is just making calls for the sake of making calls or blasting out emails for the sake of blasting out emails. Anyone can sit there and press a button in a sales loft or an outreach to send out a ton of emails. But really what we kind of focus on, and really that's kind of the genesis of Aircall for sales teams even, is that intentional activity. So getting away from maybe things like predictive dialers and, things that are really just blasting out activity and connecting you with someone. We want to be much more focused, much more intentional with who we're reaching out to and how we're reaching out to them, so that we're having good conversations and bringing value to the customer at the end of the day. So another slightly different thing that we do in the space here is not really using one of those tools for kind of like email blasts on like a main basis. We really focus on giving our BDRs, really strong leads from the database, people we've spoken to in the past, allowing them to bring in, people that they know are a really good fit for Aircall, and having them personalize that messaging and really making that more relevant to the day-to-day, so that there's more strategic element and more strategy involved in their role, right? Because they want to feel like they're working and operating on a high functioning level as well. They don't want to just be sitting there making dials, blasting out emails. That's not really a fun role to be in. So we really want to make sure we have that human element in that role and really focus on that as well. So again, just that efficiency metric of how many activities do they need in order to pull in that number, and just kind of working backwards from there. So definitely super important, and want to make sure to keep that human element and human touch in everything that we do at Aircall. But with that said, hopefully we got through some cool topics there, Kim, and I think I'll pass it back to Maddie, who will introduce our next topic and our next speaker. So thank you.
Yeah, and I just jump in here because that is me again. And thank you, Tommy. It seems like they have the right guy at the right place over at Aircall. So fantastic.
Well, let's hope so.
Yeah.
Thanks, Kim.
Yeah, and now we come into the VCC model again, and how does it actually work? So we have to start with the V. Visualization and visualize the performance. And visualizing here, we have 6 steps on how to do that. Start with there, step 1, define your primary goal, and then jump, I will go quickly through this. Step 2, define your KPIs, define your data sources and fields, for example, where you get it from, define how to display your data, if you want it live or static. Yeah, everybody wants live, especially in sales, you want to see everything right away. And then make your dashboard accessible on multiple platforms, for example, TV screens, laptops, app on the phones, smartwatches, everything, so everybody can see it all the time. And why we also are visualizing the data is, easy enough, make sure everyone working against the same goals, for example, their targets this quarter or year. And then in that, uncover blockers to see the understanding why your teams aren't reaching their goals if you don't do that. For example, outbound calls that Tommy isn't making enough of. And improve your data accuracy, make everyone process the visibility in sales by their reps to record their CRM. Like we talked about before, Tommy jumped in as well about how the modern sales leaders don't always have the correct data in the CRM because reps are lazy people and don't want to update it. But if you visualize everything they do it now instead of tomorrow when they will forget it. So with that, they monitor productivity, tracking everything's like a metric like participability, versatility, and conversation rates. And with that, you build a performance culture. So everything will be on, for example, leaderboards. You can see that, yeah, Tommy has started calling a lot more, so now he's on top. And that will ignite your team's spirit and want to be number one. And talk a little more about all this fun stuff, how to visualize things. We have a cool guy from Jysk Fynske Medier, Joachim Ankerstjerne, with a cool title as a data analyst. So Joachim, are you ready to rumble? I think you are muted. And I can't hear a thing.
I'm muted, so of course I'm muted.
Yes, there you are.
Sorry, thanks, sorry. Yeah, my name is Joachim Ankerstjerne. I'm a data analyst in our business department, this business intelligence department, sorry. I was former sales department manager at our telemarketings in Jysk Fynske Medier. Therefore, my Plecto approach is from a telemarketing point of view. I will try to change the screen here. Yeah. JFM is the biggest, second biggest media company in Denmark. It's a fusion of multiple companies, and we have lots of different things like deal site radio, marketing, and various local newspapers. And my approach was mainly newspapers, sales of those. I wasn't a part of Jysk Fynske Medier when we started the Plecto approach, but however, we have always used Plecto as a way to gain quickly and live access to performance KPIs. We have a Power BI, which are our basic data warehouse, but Plecto is it's much more easy accessible. It's much more visualized, sorry, and foremost live. And moreover, it gives the sales agent acknowledge and knowledge about the performance and thereby showing the way. We also use the visualization in our monthly one-to-one with our sales agent. So we always have a united direction between the management and the sales agents. The segmentation of leads with high expectation is with high expected conversion is mainly done by Plecto. We use the dashboard to actually precise which agent should have the best leads. And it's crucial for us. Plecto is crucial to maximize our limited resources, which is leads. Wrong side, I'll go here. I will now show you some of our dashboards. We have many, but this is our main. This is our team dashboards we have from our day team, which work from 9 to 5. Where we have different showcases and different KPIs. In the middle, you can see the names of the employees, the sales agents. We have a top 3 in the bottom low, but the ones I will mainly talk about is PPS, which is the automatic payment of the customer. How many of the sales is on an automated payment. Which is crucial in churn and also in retention. So next we have hit rate, which is quite common for many people and many companies. But then we have our PI, and you can see in the middle here, PI is performance index, which is a way we have we have shown how we can manage different expectation and goals on different segment and leads. If you only have one segment, if you only have one type of segment and expectation of the segment, you can use a hit rate. That's fine. But if you have multiple, and we have 7 different local newspaper, which different types of customers, which have different types of relationship to the newspaper. So of course we have different expectation on this, and we can see this on every employee, but we can also see in down here at the total performance index on the day. The next KPI I want to talk about is the time index, tidsindex, time index in English, where we wanted to showcase how much of the time we actually used on the phone. So if the employee have 6.5 hours on the work at one day, how much of the time are they actually using on the phone in conversation and dialing? I know it's a bit micromanagement, but it's a way to gain the most of our employee and our time, and also the salary we give. I will go into the next one. I will press the screen again. It doesn't change. Okay, yeah, the arrows came down. Can you help me, Madeline? Okay, now, great. The agent dashboard, we have a dashboard for each agent, which we also use, as I was told, on our one-to-one. Normally it will show on the left the daily performance on the agent, and on the right the monthly. Just to this showcase, I needed to pick 1 month. So, but mainly it's showing one left is day and right is this monthly. But it's the same KPI I just talked about before, but this time is dependent on one employee, and we can see there's different segments we have over here and what the hit rate is based on how they have performed. In the middle, we have our graph, which shows how they are performing sales-wise compared to the last month. So can they have to develop in a positive way or negative way. Then we have actually a visualization of the commission, so they can see how much they have earned in this month. And lastly, we can see this. This is a crucial thing we use in our one-to-one. This is a pie chart showing what typical type they are getting from the customer that they don't want to buy the paper. So let's say they are the employee have a big portion of people who don't want to buy the paper because it's too expensive. Then we can use those data to be aware how to help the agent to be better to actually get around this, or maybe have some better example why it's not that expensive, for instance. But this is used, and the agent has and the agent has access to this every day on their own screen, and we have the team on big screens all the time. And lastly, the last one I have, it doesn't change, sorry. No, yeah, and we have the department dashboard. That we have a daytime team, and we have an evening team, and then we have a team in Spain, Malaga. And this is the way to us to showcase and also benchmark how the different teams are performing, and also which lead should each team get, because our leads is again our limited resources. We want to get as much as the leads that we can get, and this is a way we can showcase this, and we can be aware of who is performing and who is not. I could talk about this a whole day. No, the last thing we have, when we started with Plecto, I was a team leader, even I was not a sales agent, but I was a team leader. But I was in the operational in the button, and I would actually recommend, if you want to build a Plecto visualization, I would start in the button. Of course, you need to have some knowledge of what you want to gain or where you want to end, but it needs, in my opinion, it needs to be in the lower because it's the people going to use it, is going to people going to get the example of it is, and of course at the end, and this is where we are now, we are also using in the tactical area and also in the strategic area. So it's from being a bottom thing, we start in the operational, it's have developed all the way to strategic. But yeah, that was my 2 cents.
Fantastic, and thank you so much. And looks like you have control on the data over there. So perfect title for you, data analyst. And then we come to a really fun part, celebrate success. And why do we celebrate success? Yeah, firstly, of course, it's fun, and it also releases something we call serotonin. These are the reward chemical that makes you feel like $1 million. That I think we all had an overdose here in Norway the last few weeks with, making a killing at the Olympics, like every time the Winter Olympics are. And it also makes everybody have an increased sense of belonging, so they do more satisfied at their job. And when you are more satisfied and have fun at your job, and you know that people are seeing when you do a good job, you do more, so you get a more productive staff. And one of the things that we can use in here are one of my babies, gamification. And gamification are so much fun in there, and many different ways. We have the instant notification. For example, when you made a huge deal, you want everybody to see it. In the old days, you go and ring in a bell. Some people are still using it, but we are in 2022, so you need to digitalize that. So a lot of places then have that automatically when they update the CRM, for example, a close deal at Salesforce, it automatically pops up on screens across offices with some music, videos, etc. So everybody sees, yay, Kim made a huge sale again. Or Tommy had called 100 people today. And we also there have a competition or contest we can have in many different ways. I'll get back to that in a minute. And we also have something we like to call achievements. Like, not normally badges or notification when you did something good, but for example, when you did something good over a long time. Oh, Tommy has called 500 people in a week. Let's give him a badge that he's the call master. That in whatever metrics you will like. But when we come to the contest, we have many different ways of doing that, of course. We have the classic duel head-to-head, having the Old West. One winner, the other one loses. And we have team contests, so we can do that also in different ways. You can have a team where all the teams are against each other, who's the best in the team, or the team together at a common goal. Oh, if we sell for 200 million this quarter, we're getting a trip to Trondheim to visit Kim. And team versus team. Yeah, who's the best team? I don't know why Denmark are on the top there. We should have Norway somewhere here, but who knows? This is just some examples. So many ways to do competition and celebrate success. And that is, I will take a little personal example on this as well. Who is this cool guy? That was me 25 years ago. Yeah. And here, after a lot of hard work, I got a second stripe at my shoulder. So I got a recognition that I done something good over a little bit of time. But also, for me personally, the most important thing there, I got what we like to call the Coca-Cola add-on back then. With that second stripe, I got 11 more Norwegian kroners per day. And the vending machine at my barracks, a Coca-Cola costs 11 kroners. So 1 Coke every day. Fantastic. So I get just the reward and the recognition for hard work. And to get a little more insight on this as well, we have a really cool guy from Förebygg, Johan Hilding, CEO and co-founder. Take it away.
Right. Thank you, Kim. And thank you, Plecto, for having me here today. I must say that the double gun wielding there was really awesome. I'm going to show you guys the 3 modules that Kim just introduced to us. These are the achievement system, the contest module, and the notifications. I will also show you guys how we use them so far. Additionally, I'll summarize a bit on what we use Plecto for overall, what's possible to do, and what I'm especially excited about. But before that, let me shortly introduce myself and the businesses I represent. So as you can see, my name is Johan, and I'm the co-founder and CEO of Förebygg, Vendor Sales, and Västkustbolaget. I do love information and data handling, as well as automation and system structures. This is also why I'm here today and loving to use Plecto. Our main business is focused on security services, such as credit surveillance, burglar alarms, and theft protection. And as Joachim, we are telemarketing based in the core, but we also do event sales integration to Plecto today. As of now, we have entered our 6th year in business and are focusing a lot of our attention towards partnering up with great brands like Plecto to create synergies, as well as offering white labeling solutions of our services globally. Today, we both use and view Plecto as part of the core in what we offer to our partners and resellers, since our goal as a provider or employer is to provide our partners with the best possible setup and conditions to succeed with our projects. Our package, or so to speak, is including a team setup in Plecto with dashboards, KPIs, reports, and performance agreements, as well as high quality e-learning and access to the Swedish educational platform Framgångsakademin. In the end, it's our job to make sure our partners win, and having Plecto makes it possible for us to deliver top grade visualization for our partners as well. So getting into the modules, starting with achievements. We have built our achievement system so that there are 2 types of achievements. There's the all-time high, which you can see here. We have about 12 achievements or something on the screen, which is awarded to the one single agent who has that high score. If you lose the all-time high, you lose the achievement. The other type is team-based achievements, looking at KPIs such as best sales per hour on cold calling, most active time in the dialer, which means if someone in the team is slacking behind, the team will also get behind on that. We also measure, for example, having the best average time calls, which is a really interesting KPI. Let me see here. I forgot that slide. Yeah. The achievements are fueling. Oh, sorry. What's happening here? Yeah. The achievements are also fueling the motivation, as Kim touched on. They both confirm your success, and they also appear on the dashboards, as you can see on the right here. If it's a all-time high, it will stay there forever or until beaten, whilst the team achievements are lasting a month. But that's only how we set it up, and it's totally flexible to build any structure you want. Getting into contests, the contest boards is something that we haven't spent enough time on yet. That is due to the fact that you can actually build contests in the normal dashboard system as well, and we got used to doing that when we first started out with Plecto. However, we have built contests that I will show you here, and obviously contests do provide a lot of positivity in terms of sales, but I think the main point here is how easy it is to set up and go live with a new contest. You don't need to do any coding or spending hours fiddling with less developed solutions. Since we use something called a slideshow that's integrated in Plecto, where we can combine dashboards and contests to continuously slide and change on a TV monitor, we can launch a new contest and know for a fact that the same minute that contest will be live on all the screens in all locations and resellers' offices. Something that I believe is really interesting here, if you look to the right side, we had a competition where we combined 2 KPIs. So we were using the revenue generated, but we were also multiplying it by the percentage of active time based on a workday, which means that even if the best seller is one of those that goes in and smacks some fast sales and then wants to chill, that person will have a hard time winning anyway. So to promote and incentivize that working hard and not slacking can also bring you to the top. The third, let's see the slide again. It's coming. Yeah. The third module I'm discussing is notifications and how we use them. So we all know that data visualization is key today, but getting the message out there, getting the attention of the person you want is another challenge. And this is something that Plecto has solved very well with the notification system. So as I mentioned earlier, we use the slideshow setup on the TV in every office to get the message out. But what the notifications does is a kind of trigger-based automation that will display something when a preset goal is reached. So what we can do here, and what I find most amazing and exciting, is things like playing a sound on a slideshow, show some special text on the slideshow, show the user that sold or made an all-time high or what it is, play the user's personal video, play a YouTube video. You can pop an email, give an achievement, flash some Philips Hue lighting if you have that in your office or in your home maybe when you want to see if your team is selling something. Play an alarm on a Sonos speaker or send a Slack notification. But I think above all, having the app push notification can be really, really incentivizing and pushing people to follow the correct KPIs and see what's going on in the business. So if the goal is to get your team's attention and focused on the right metrics, this really does the job for you. Lastly, I want to touch a bit on the impact the Plecto has had on our businesses. Since we're a startup / growth business with a handful of brands, it has been hard for me to measure in exact numbers the differences, mostly due to us not having Plecto, something like Plecto before Plecto. So it's a bit harder to measure. But with that said, what I can say is that Plecto has enabled us to have centralized sales, marketing, and time management data in one place, customize dashboards within minutes, and specify clear access levels, which I love because I don't like when the wrong people get access to the wrong data, which is also a very hot subject these days. Easily setting up contests and engaging notifications, having a mobile app with awesome widgets and push notifications, setting up reports of repetitive operational tasks. So also if there's a system that we don't have reports in, but we can connect to Plecto, suddenly we have reports from that system as well. Definitely increasing sales and team unification, which I think Kim mentioned there, which I think is a key part of this, and motivation across different locations by having a center point for the whole business. And of course, Plecto has enabled us to save some time and get more time relaxing whenever that is. Today, I would say that every employee, no matter department or location within our business, has a use case in the Plecto setup. And I simply put that the sky is the limit using Plecto. It's been very few times that I haven't managed to build what we were aiming to build. Most of the time, it's just working really, really fluid. So that was it for mine and our views on achievements, contests, and notifications. And thank you for your time. If anyone has any questions regarding these modules or the businesses I represent, please feel free to ask in the end of the webinar or just reaching out to me at LinkedIn. So thank you, and let's get back to Kim.
Fantastic, and thank you so much, Johan. It seems like you guys are absolutely using these things very well. So I think I will need to give you a gold star achievement badge for using Plecto in a kick-ass way. That's it. Yeah, and then we come to step 3 at the VCC model, the last C, coaching. And of course, why and how should we coach? Start with a little on the why. Because, yeah, everybody knows that you have to train people, and one size don't fit all. So you have to take it a little more on a one-on-one basis to, yeah, reflect their attributes so they can get in the sales flow, and on the how, here you use your data on pinpoint which areas you work in to have improvements on, not just on, oh, this you are doing this so bad, Tommy, you're not calling enough. So we can pinpoint that. And with this, we can also then do some performance agreements where both the agents and management can follow along all the progress they have in real time with instant notification. With, for example, oh yeah, Tommy, now you are only 10 more calls to have reached your goal for this week. Fantastic. And you can, of course, set in whatever metrics you would like in this here. And just keep on trucking. And for example, if you have in the last C, celebrate success, every time there, you don't have to coach that much, but still need that to keep still the flow. And then we come to a little follow-up where if you follow all these 3 VCC steps, and then we can see how and what you need to have implement this in your organization. If you have all of those, just sit back, relax, watch the data drive in, and skyrocket your pocket. And that's what it's all about. So some of the key takeaways, I guess, that we have from this 1 hour is, yeah, which challenges we had in modern sales, and how we can do a data-driven approach to finish those. And with that, the VCC model to actually do everything about visual data, celebrate success, and the coaching. And with that, we do improvement of the performance, motivation, and engagement, and to exceed our targets and take Christmas holidays in 10 months, 11 months with a sound mind. And then I guess we have to see if we have some Q&As here as well.
Great, yes.
Yes. Maddie, you are back. You
that
have
is correct.
Some cool questions there.
I am thanking everyone who sent in some questions so far. We've got one open from Mortimer Smith right now. We'll say hi to him wherever he is in the world. Thanks for sending a question in. This one is directed to Johan. Are there any particular contests you repeat and notice a constant improvement on each time you use it?
Yes, there is, not in terms of the prices, but in terms of what we measure and what we value. So the example I showed you there with combining the revenue generated with the active time is something we use continuously to motivate being active in the dialer, because it's a numbers game. But we also use we try to use incentives that are not always performance driven in terms of money, but can be something else that we know will bring more sales in the end. So for example, the average call time, having the cold calling clients on the phone for as long as possible will most likely result in more sales later. or better, more training for the actual agent getting into the call. So setting the aim on maybe some steps before generating money sometimes can be very rewarding. And that is something we do continuously use.
Great. Yeah, thanks for that, Johan. I've got one over here that has been answered already, but it was directed to Tommy. Maybe he can expand on that one a little more. This one, how do you use created to one and qualified to one differently? What does one tell you that the other doesn't?
Yeah, definitely. I think I had wrote out a little bit of an answer there. Obviously, those are two metrics that we look at pretty frequently at Aircall, and I think they're actually really important to look at together because I think they really kind of balance each other out and provide the context, right? So if we're seeing that our created to 1% percentage is, or decreasing, but but our qualified to one number is increasing, then that could be a sign that our AEs or our reps are getting a little bit pickier with like what they're actually taking into their pipeline and accepting in. So maybe that's a sign that they're being a little bit too guarded. The qualification criteria might be off. So that would be kind of something that would be illuminated there. Because you always want to see those numbers kind of moving together in the same direction versus moving in opposite directions. When they're moving in opposite directions, that's a sign that you need to look at something further and just illuminates what, whatever that might be. On the flip side, if we see that, that created to one number is moving in the other direction in terms of the qualified number, then we might look at that and see, or we see that, that number is created to one is going down, but qualification rate qualified to one is actually staying the same. Then that's probably a good sign of, okay, let's take a look at what we're actually bringing in. What are we creating more of? And, is that actually quality? Is that the right fit? Or are we just creating a lot more leads that aren't actually, winnable or good leads for the company? So I think they really play off one another, those two metrics, and we look at them, always kind of in tandem to try to make assumptions or really help us illuminate the areas that we need to look into further based on those.
Awesome. Thanks for that, Tommy. Yeah, that was from an anonymous user. But I know we are a little over time at the moment, but if anyone wants to stick around, I think we have time for one more question. This one is from Alexander Collins Svensson, directed to Johan. You mentioned that you work with white label and partnerships with various companies globally. What type of projects, services do you have globally? You mentioned credit information and alarms. What does it look like? What kind of criteria do you have for new partners?
Yeah, thank you, Alex. That was a couple of questions. I would just say shortly, we work with burglar alarms globally as a white label provider. Otherwise, our main business, which is credit information, is Sweden only. It's kind of a local or national problem, you could say, in Sweden with identity theft. So credit surveillance is a big thing over here.
Beautiful.
Please feel free to reach out on LinkedIn. I could give you more information.
I was just about to say the same thing. It's the same thing that unfortunately I know is we have limited time, so we didn't get to answer all the questions. And if anyone has any further questions, please feel free to reach out and get in touch. I'll just skip through this. I will pop the panelists' emails down below in the chat, so you can find their details there. I'll also pop our Plecto's LinkedIn and website details, but I do want to say it's been a really great, insightful discussion. These last few questions we got to answer and to hear the experiences of some really great sales experts that we are honored to have. So I want to extend a very, very large thank you to Tommy Jester from Aircall all the way in the US. So we'll let him get off to his coffee. Johan Hilding, so from Förebygg, over in Sweden, where we're representing all countries here. We've got our very own Kim Jakobsson from Plecto, the Norwegian sales maestro, and then Joachim Ankerstjerne. So I'm sorry that I did not introduce you properly at the beginning, but Joachim over in Denmark here with us. So I hope that we've been able to broadcast to a number of countries, and you've been able to grab some great insights from these wonderful panelists who's have. And thank you to you for joining in and attending today, whether you were able to attend. We're recording this, so we will send that out to you. For those who were absent, you'll be able to come back and revisit anything that you want to look further into or you might have missed. But yeah, thank you very much, everyone. A final thank you for joining. We can't wait to see you put anything that you've learned today into action and really just start outperforming today. So thank you for joining us. You've got a fat pocket full of knowledge now, and I hope you enjoy the rest of your delightful Wednesday, wherever you are in the world. So thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you again from me as well.
Thank you very much.
Bye-bye.
Bye.